The novel opens on a typical day for Guy Montag. He finishes work as a fireman and heads towards home. On the way, he runs into his teenage neighbor, Clarice McClellan. In their world, Clarice is judged to be peculiar. Later that night, Montag discovers Millie has taken an overdose, which is an uncommon occurrence in this town. Over the next several weeks, Clarice and Montag develop a friendly relationship. They talk about ideas and thoughts in a way that no one in this society would seem to do anymore. Because of Clarice's influence, Montag grows more concerned about his own life. Then one day, Clarice disappears and Montag is troubled. Work troubles him even more, for he must participate in burning an old woman's house. Refusing to leave her books and her belongings, she lights her own house on fire and stays inside. Montag is moved by the woman's bravery and sees it as a symbol of what is wrong with society. Almost in protest, he steals a book from the woman's house. Back at home, Montag learns that Clarice has been killed. Her death upsets him greatly. The next day, Montag calls in sick for work. He has lost all interest in his former life. His boss, Beatty, comes to his house and warns him that sometimes firemen go through phases in which they steal books. He reminds Montag if they do not return the books within 24 hours, they will be arrested and all their belongings burned. Montag thinks he should get rid of the books he has stolen, including the ones from the old woman's house. After Beatty leaves, Montag shows the old woman's books to his wife. He also shows her 20 others that he has apparently stolen over the years. Millie is terrified and refuses to deal with the situation. In frustration, Montag takes one of the books and leaves to his favor, an old English professor he once knew. They decided that Montag must memorize the books to be ensured that their consciences are preserved. When Montag goes home, he again frightens his wife by showing her his books. He also shows them to two neighbors. Then he goes to the fire station to turn over one of his books so no one will be suspicious of him. At the fire station, the alarm sounds, and Montag must go with Beatty and the firemen to destroy a house. When they arrive, he realizes it is his own house that they are supposed to burn. At his house, Montag discovers that his own wife has turned him in. Enraged, he kills Beatty and then is attacked by the Hound. He manages to escape to go see Faber seeking help. Montag leaves to the country where some other intelligent exiles are living. They all have memorized the contents of books, so when the time is right, they can rebuild the society. When the war breaks out that night, the city Montag has come from is completely destroyed. After fighting is over, Montag and the others will walk back to the city. They are determined to build a new civilization there.
So it was the hand that started it all. His hand had been infected, and soon it would be his arms. His hands were ravenous. This passage from The Hearth and the Salamander refers to Montag's theft of books from the old woman's house. Montag's guilty portrays his actions as an involuntary bodily reflex. He describes his crime as automatic and claims it involves no thought on his part. He blames his hand for several other crimes in the course of the book, and they become a powerful symbol for Montag's instincts of rebellion, will, and moral imperative. We must all be alike, not everyone born free and equal, as the Constitution says, but everyone made equal. A book is a loaded gun in the house next door. Burn it. Take the shot from the weapon. Breach man's mind. Captain Beatty speaks these lines toward the end of The Hearth and the Salamander, while explaining the history of firemen to Montag in his home. It is important to note that Beatty's whole speech has an ironic sound. He defends the authenticity in a passionate, almost regretful tone. Do you know why books such as this are so important? Because they have quality. And what does the word quality mean? To me, it means texture. This book has pores. Faber speaks these words to Montag toward the beginning of The Sieve in the Sand, as he explains the importance of books. Faber tells Montag that it is not the books themselves that Montag is looking for, but the meaning they contain. It's perpetual motion, the thing man wanted to invent but never did. It's a mystery. Its real beauty is that it destroys responsibility and consequences. Clean, quick, sure, nothing to rot later, antibiotic, anesthetic, practical. Beatty speaks these lines to Montag outside Montag's home in Burning Bright. Right before Montag burns him to death with the flamethrower, he muses about the mystical nature of fire. its unexplained beauty and the fascination it holds for people. With characteristic irony, Beatty, who has just accused Montag of not considering the consequences of his actions, then defines the beauty of fire as its ability to destroy consequences and responsibilities. Unfortunately, Montag turns Beatty's philosophy against him by turning the flamethrower on his boss, inflicting an antibiotic, anesthetic, practical death.
Character analysis. Montag. He is a fireman whose faith changes in his profession and society after meeting a young woman, Clarice, a beautiful 17-year-old who introduces Montag to the world's potential for beauty and meaning with her gentle innocence and curiosity. She is an outcast from society because of her odd habits, which include hiking, playing with flowers, and asking questions. But she and her equally odd family seem genuinely happy with themselves and each other. Beatty, the captain of Montag's fire department. Although he himself is extremely well-read, paradoxically, he hates the books and people who insist on reading them. He is cunning and devious, and so perceptive that he appears to read Montag's thoughts. Mildred, Montag's brittle, sickly-looking wife. She's obsessed with watching television and refuses to engage in conversation with her husband about their marriage or her feelings. Faber, a retired English professor whom Montag encountered a year before the book opens. Faber still possesses a few precious books and aches to have more. He readily admits that the current state of society is due to the cowardice of people like himself who would not speak out against book burning when they still could have stopped it. Setting. In Fahrenheit 451, Bradbury offers a dark vision of the 21st century America. The novel portrays a society where rigid conformity is expected of all individuals and where independent thought is highly suspect. Most members of the society seem to willingly embrace the opportunity to escape the burdens of individuality and intellectualism. But their unconscious frustration manifests itself in the violence that permeates this bleak world. The setting is important because it's warning us about the future, what the future would be like if we let technology run our life. Conflicts. Montag murders Beatty and now the city is chasing him. Individual versus society. Solution: Montag leaves the city to the country on railroad tracks. The lady was caught with books. Individual versus society. Solution: she burns herself with her books. Biographical information on Ray Bradbury. Ray Bradbury was born on August 22, 1920. In 1946, he met Marguerite McClure, and in September 27, 1947, they were married in the Church of Good Shepherd. The first of Bradbury's 4 daughters, Susan, was born in 1949. Susan's sisters, Ramona, Bettina, and Alexandra, were born in 1951, 1955, and 1958. In 1947, Bradbury published his first collection of short stories entitled The Dark Carnival. Over the decades, there have also been many attempts to adapt Bradbury's stories for television. Worthy examples include episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Twilight Zone, and Bradbury's Emmy-winning teleplay for the Halloween Tree. Fahrenheit 451 was released in 1953. Ray Bradbury is known as one of America's greatest creative geniuses today. Ray and Maggie Bradbury continue to live in Los Angeles. They have 8 grandchildren and 4 cats.